This is what Trump has to say after he kidnapped Maduro and his wife.
But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to give it to them. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
And listen to what Trump has to say. He said this 9 months before the 2024 election.
We're buying oil from Venezuela. When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where the oil, their oil is garbage. It's horrible. The worst you can get, tar. It's like tar. And to refine it, you need special plants.
After looking at those videos, no matter how the media tries to twist the narrative and the things, one thing is clear, which is Trump is eyeing the oil in Venezuela. So if you had not known before, Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the whole world. Check this out.
As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
You would be surprised that this is not the first time that the US directly attacked Venezuela. It has done this in 2002. Watch this clip.
¡Yanquis de mierda! ¡Que aquí hay un pueblo digno! ¡Aquí hay un pueblo digno! ¡Yanquis de mierda! ¡Váyanse al carajo 100 veces! ¡Aquí estamos, los hijos de Bolívar! ¡Los hijos de Guaycaipuro! ¡Los hijos de Tupac Amaru! Y estamos resueltos a ser libres. Hago responsable de todo esto y lo que pueda ocurrir al gobierno de Estados Unidos, que anda detrás de todas las conspiraciones contra nuestros pueblos. Nosotros, yanquis de mierda, sépanlo, estamos resueltos a ser libres. Pase lo que pase y cuéstenos lo que nos cueste. ¡Ya basta!
As you can see, this clip is of the then president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez. Back in 2002, America tried to take the government in Venezuela and put its own puppet government, which was a right-wing government, but due to people's resilience and people's unity, that never happened. And now look at this clip from UN Assembly in 2006 by Hugo Chavez.
Hablo aquí en este mismo lugar, huele a azufre todavía esta mesa donde me ha tocado hablar. Ayer, señoras, señores, desde esta misma tribuna, el señor presidente de los Estados Unidos, a quien yo llamo el diablo, vino aquí hablando como dueño del mundo.
Trump and his media are saying that they did this attack, quote unquote, air strike in Venezuela just so they can stop the illegal smuggling of narcotics and drugs from Venezuela. I think I have seen this story before, many times. One of which was back in the days in Iraq, where they said that there is weapons of mass destruction and all that. Now look at this picture. I think they found the weapons of mass destruction. Wow. So if these are the weapons of mass destruction, which look like gold, I think every country should have their own weapons of mass destruction. Enough of me talking. I will give my opinions on all of this towards the end of this video. Now let's see what a Venezuelan woman has to say on all of this.
Happening in Venezuela and give some context from an actual Venezuelan. Maduro, bad. Trump, bad. Getting rid of Maduro, good. An American intervention into Venezuela, bad. Now you're going to see a lot of Venezuelans who seem to be in support of this American intervention, not because we're naive or because we don't understand what it could mean. Nobody wants to be bombed by the Yanks, okay? But that should give you an idea as just how desperate Venezuelans are. Maduro is not the legal president of Venezuela. He lost the 2024 election to Edmundo Gonzalez. That is an indisputable fact. But this isn't so much about the nitty-gritty of the politics as much as it is about the effects of those politics on the people. Imagine this. You wake up, there's no water, as usual. The lights have been out for about 10 hours. Your fridge starts to smell because the power keeps going out. So you're like, okay, I'm going to go out and buy some new food. You get there and the food is even more expensive than it was before. Food has gone up 21.9% in price since just last October. Actually, food prices have gone up 12,000% since 2009. So that's like a tomato being worth $1. Now that same tomato is worth $12,000. That's how crazy the food situation is in Venezuela. These rolling blackouts too that I mentioned have a huge effect on the hospital systems. Often you will be in the middle of surgery and the electricity goes off. So you have a country where you have very little access to food, and we know little access to food usually means a huge increase in crime. That has happened in Venezuela. You have a dangerous country, you don't have access to food, water, electricity, and your hospital systems have been terrible. On top of these brutal living conditions, you have this political violence hovering on top of you. If you speak out about what's happening, you are very likely to be disappeared into El Helicoide, which is the largest torture center in the Americas. In July of 2024 came Operation Tuntun. So basically the government would come knocking on your door if you made any posts that were against the government. And if your neighbors outed you for being out protesting, you would be likely to be kidnapped and sent to this torture center. In just the month of July 2024, 1,900 political prisoners were taken. Those numbers have gone up to over 3,000, most of those being youth and most of those being underage girls. Since 2014, there has been 17,888 politically motivated arrests in Venezuela. More than 8 million Venezuelans have fled the country. Our families are scattered across the world because we can't safely live home. And back in Venezuela, the regime allows mining that is tearing apart the Orinoco Delta, poisoning rivers with mercury and displacing indigenous people, allowing miners to go into indigenous territories, spreading diseases, and kidnapping and human trafficking indigenous women. So when you see Venezuelans expressing support for an invasion, please understand, no one wants to be invaded, especially not by a country with such a brutal, violent global history. But Venezuelans are running out of options. Our hope is real. But underneath that hope is fear, exhaustion, and deep sadness for having to survive this horrific, violent, corrupt dictatorship. So please give us some space to feel all these emotions. Venezuelans aren't dumb. We are hardworking people who just want the best, like everyone else, to live a normal life.
Now Maduro is in New York.
Slowly, deliberately, their hands look from here as if they are handcuffed. The way his legs are moving, it would appear to be that his or her legs, are chained also.
And I heard it somewhere. I basically saw it, and there it was mentioned that they are going to take him to the court and do a trial for him. I could have swore that the American court should have done trial on this person who is on the Epstein files. When is his trial due? When is his trial due? That's the question. Now look at these Epstein's file. that they released. Just bullshit.
This one's not readable. It's completely redacted. For the most part, the first 50 pages.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests. Among them, the financier Jeffrey Epstein. More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president says now, he never liked Epstein.
I was not
A nation who can't solve its own problem is out here trying to solve other nations' problem. That's bullshit. And as expected, this is not the end. Look at what Trump has to say about Cuba and his intentions now after Venezuela.
Yeah, is there a message here for Cuba and Diaz-Canel?
Well, Cuba is an interesting case. Cuba is, not doing very well right now. That system has not been a very good one for Cuba. The people there have suffered for many, many years. And I think Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now, very badly failing nation. And we want to help the people. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba, but we want to also help the people that were forced out of Cuba and living in this country. Do you want to say something about that, Marco, please?
So his mind is clear. Any country can be next. Cuba, Iran, any other country, you name it, except for the powerful and big countries. China, Russia, and many more. And I'm looking at it from a third-person point of view, as I'm not a Venezuelan and I'm not an American. I'm looking at it from a third point of view and I'm saying, it's insane, it's absurd, and it's something that I can't wrap my head around. That you can just take someone, the president of the country, and put the country in chaos. Does that make sense? That can happen to any country. What happened to going by the rules? What happened to going by the laws? I guess there are none, because if there was law, someone would have get arrested by being related to Epstein files. Being in those files. Being a pedophile. But no, there is no law. Law is only for the weak. Law is only for the one who are not in power. And now that I think about it, just before this attack, Maduro met Chinese minister something. I don't know what their exact post was, but he met them. And right after he met them, Trump captured him. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's kinda making me think that China played along. And you never know. China, America, Russia, they might be out and say like, we don't like each other, we don't support each other and all that, but in the inside, they might be working together. Who would know? Nobody. That was very suspicious about all this.
But we can't take a chance after having done this incredible thing last night of letting somebody else take over, where we have to do it again. We can do it again, too. Nobody can stop us. There's nobody that has the capability that we have. When I watch that war in Russia going on and on and on and everybody dying, and it's like, it's primitive. It's primitive. It's horrible. It's really horrible.
Could you tell it?
A place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We've had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place.
And now, to my opinions on all this. Doesn't all this make Trump a war criminal? Just like how Putin was made a war criminal. It's the same thing. My main concern is now what will happen to Venezuela. I'm guessing something. I'm putting quite a picture about what will happen. Now America, the Trump administration, whatever, they will have their own puppet government in Venezuela, which will obey the Trump government in America. It will be similar how Europe is silently controlling Africa and taking its all resources. Same thing will happen to Venezuela. The same thing. And if no one steps up and if nothing happens, then it will expand to Cuba and to many other nations. This is just inhumane and it's just barbaric in nature. We are quote unquote civilized, but what is this behavior? What is this behavior? We can just go to someone's place and just rob them like that. I swear Trump is out there preaching, shouting about all the illegal immigrants to the USA. Aren't you the fucking illegal in Venezuela? Why the fuck are you there? Get the fuck out. Nothing will happen. The United Nations, silent. Europe, silent. Nothing will happen to America. At this point, I think they should just go at it. Do whatever the fuck you can, because nobody is stopping you, nobody is confronting you. Nothing is going to happen. America will take these countries, Russia will take these countries, China will take these countries and all that, and wow. That will happen. Because there is nothing to stop. Picture this. Picture a wild elephant who is let loose. What will happen? Picture a wild lion, a rhino who is let loose. What will happen? They will just conquer every other territory. This is just colonialism. This is 21st century colonialism, you guys. And after the World War II, we thought that wow, the world will be peaceful. There will be no wars. There will never be colonialism. There will never be a country forcing another country. Is it happening? Isn't it happening right in front of us? And what are we doing about it? Nothing. Not everyone, many people are silent. Many people just don't care. The same thing happened with Israel and Palestine that has been happening for years and years and years. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. People only care once it happens to them. If it doesn't happen to them, they just go along and be like, whatever. And when it will happen to you, yeah, I'm talking to you, there will be no one to help. And you will die, just like how all these other people are dying.